So today's topic is on the lies and excuses that you tell yourself which are stopping you from getting in shape. So I've been coaching now for over 10 years, both in person and online, and I cannot tell you the amount of excuses or lies that you tell yourself on a day-to-day basis, which is limiting your ability to drop body fat and get in shape. Now the list is too long for me to go through in one episode. So today we're just going to go through the top 5 lies and excuses that you tell yourself and which are ultimately stopping you from changing your body and getting into the best shape of your life. So let's kickstart. Number 1 is that you don't have the time. Now everybody's 24 hours looks incredibly different. Your 24 hours will look very different to my 24 hours. And my priorities are going to be very different to your priorities. However, if this goal means something to you, you're going to have to make changes. Simply saying you do not have the time doesn't get you any closer towards your goal. Now, a trick here is to understand that you do not need to be perfect and you do not have to go all in if you want to make immediate changes to your body and lifestyle. Your issue is that you currently feel like you don't have the time to commit to the gym, to commit to food preparation, or even to commit to increasing your overall daily activity. And if you have a family, a very demanding job, that's fair enough. However, there is nothing stopping you from starting small and finishing big. Look up what you can afford to do now and build it into your schedule instead of consistently putting up the excuse that you do not have the time. You may not have the time to get to the gym, but potentially you have the time to build in a home workout. You may not have the time to commit to an hour, but maybe you have the time to commit to 30 minutes. You may not have the time to go out and hit 10,000 steps, but maybe you have the time to go out and hit 5,000. You may not have the time to do a whole week's worth of food preparation, but maybe you have the time to just prepare your breakfast. These simple changes made over time will compound into big results and allows you to layer these things in over time. You do not have to be all in or perfect to get in shape, but you do have to start making small actions and creating the time if, as I said, getting in shape is something that you truly want to achieve. Number 2 is that you'll start or you'll progress when work calms down. Now the chances are you have a very intense, full-on, demanding job, which takes up a large proportion of your week. And you've been telling yourself, or when things calm down, you're really going to push for progress. But the issue is that you've been saying that now for weeks and months, hoping that the next working week will be calmer and quieter. But the reality is things are only going to get busier. And if you keep using this excuse, you're going to stay looking and feeling as you do right now. So instead of waiting for this calm or this perfect opportunity, learn how to navigate around your busy working weeks. And the more you start putting your foot in the door and building that momentum, the easier it will be in the coming weeks to learn how to build in your nutrition, building your workouts, and building your daily activity, even around the busiest of working weeks. But you're only going to get better at that if you start now. Number 3, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've heard this before. Yet here you are, almost 10 years into trying to get into shape, still preaching the same things. So clearly the issue isn't the fact that you already know what you need to do, the issue is that you're just not doing it, and there's got to be a reason behind that. Now you may understand the basics of how to lose weight or how to drop body fat. Eating less and moving more is probably something that you've commonly heard. However, that understanding isn't the problem. It's your ability to actually integrate that into your day-to-day. Do you have the right structure? Do you have the right routine? And do you know how to navigate around typical things that you're going to go head on with every week? Do you know how to navigate around a busy week of work? Do you know how to navigate around social events? Do you know how to navigate around holidays? And do you know how to navigate around weeks when you have low motivation and you're not feeling at your best? These are the things which consistently throw you off track. Like I said, you understand that you have to eat healthier, that you have to move more, and you have to start integrating exercise. But how you actually do these things and personalize into your current lifestyle is where you're consistently hitting that brick wall. And this is where ultimately you're going to need that professional help. So unless you want to spend the next 10 years saying the same words of I know what I need to do, I just need to do it, maybe now's the time you reach out and you ask for professional help. Number 4 is that you don't want to start your journey because you don't want to give up your social life. Now I completely understand this is a fear for many people, based off the extreme diets that you see online or maybe even the social media influencers that you're following. However, you do not need to eliminate or give up your social life in order to get into great shape. However, you do have to be willing to make sacrifices and cut back in order to make progress in dropping body fat and improving your overall body composition. And there's a clear distinctive between the two. Cutting back and eliminating are two completely different things. And how I do this with my clients is I better help them to plan and prepare in preparation for those social events, again, teaching them how to integrate them or navigate around them so they consistently make progress without having to eliminate them. The journey to getting in shape should help enhance your lifestyle, not stop it. But understanding and learning how to manage your expectations and to plan, prepare, and adjust appropriately for your social events will enable you to get the best of both worlds. Now, finally, number 5 is probably the most painful one, where you're currently in a position right now where you're not making any progress at all. You've been stuck in the same position now for weeks or maybe even months, and you keep telling yourself this one thing, that you feel like you're making progress. Now, for me, it should be very clear. You either are or you are not making progress. And if you're not tracking any data at this moment in time, that's a big red flag. And what you need to do is you need to take the emotions away and you need to look at the data, whether that's your daily weigh-ins, your progress photos, your measurements, your health markers, or even the data that you're collecting from your workouts. You need to utilize this data to see whether in fact you are or you are not making progress. Simply saying it, you feel better or you feel lighter is very wishy-washy. Just like if I said to you, I feel like I'm a millionaire, you would think I was crazy. I either am or I am not a millionaire. And you can tell that by my bank balance. No ifs, no buts. It's simple facts. So if you're currently in the position where deep down you know you haven't made any progress whatsoever in the last several months or potentially years, now's the time for that reality check. If the data is showing you that there has been no changes in your numbers or photos, maybe it's time to make a change. Maybe it's time to stay stubborn with the goal, but be more flexible with your approach. Sometimes we all need a little bit of tough love, but hopefully this has helped you create that realization that something needs to change and you need to stop making these excuses if you're going to achieve the body that you want. Hopefully you found that useful and look forward to seeing you next time.